Time for Ask the Mayor on KWBE with Beatrice Mayor Bob Morgan. And a lot going on this week. And one of those events yesterday was kind of the culmination of, I guess it's about 2 years worth of planning, design, construction, angst in the community, maybe a little bit, which, projects like that put up with pretty regularly. But you see the final product, the new elementary school, and what an addition to the community as far as what to offer people that are looking at coming here or people that already live here.
Very, very true, Doug. Good morning, by the way.
Morning.
You know what? I had the opportunity to go out there last night, and it's a beautiful building. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that I thought about, and I think I said when they asked me to speak, is I think about technology. Mm-hmm. And, I understand the neighborhood approach. I understand the age of the buildings. But at the end of the day, there's no way to really move what you need to do educationally in those buildings. That's one of the things that happen over time. As I said, I use the analogy of look at the transition of the telephone, going from the party line to the rotary to.
I can remember the old rotary, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first cell phones were a bag phone. Yeah. And now you look at the smartphones, but also you look at all that technology that they're incorporating. That starts at kindergarten.
Smart watches and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have one, by the way.
I don't either.
But I think that's one of the things that it not only is it a beautiful building, but if you looked behind the walls, you will see it's wired differently than what you could an older building. Mm-hmm. And so, at the end of the day, you now have kindergarten through fifth grade going through a state-of-an-art building this morning that are going to give them some tools that they'll be able to take into junior high and high school. And, in today's world, when you get through with high school, they're going to have the opportunity to maybe do an apprenticeship or go to work. Mm-hmm. They're going to have the opportunity to go to a trade school and learn a trade, or they're going to be able to go on to the 4-year school, college education that'll set them up for something different. But the foundation of the technology and how to use it and how to leverage it in your education starts in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And this building allows them to do that. So I'm very happy, and again, congratulations to Beatrice Public Schools and Jason Alexander. It's a beautiful building. It's just going to be really good for the community. And as a side note, you're right. It does help young families evaluate a community move to Beatrice, which could help grow. And it also allows for economic development when people want to come in there. Mm-hmm. But as I said, the real winners are today the kindergartners through fifth grade that are walking into this new building that is up to date and technologically advanced that will carry them forward for years to come.
The mechanical aspects of it, too, and the efficiency things like on energy. You look back at the buildings that were built in the 1950s, you're talking about boilers and things that are just hard to even repair or get equipment for anymore. And now you're talking about geothermal things and latest construction and better insulation and just better operationally. The one thing that I will be anxious to hear about in the future, because I don't think a lot of people think about it, myself included, replacing 4 buildings with one larger one that is much more efficient, you have to wonder what that is going to do with costs for the district as well, and saving money by not having to operate older buildings that just by their nature are not that efficient.
Right. There's going to be some savings there. Here's a real simple example. Look at the lighting. Yeah. It's all LED lighting. Mm-hmm. And so that saves significantly on energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, gee. Wait a minute, I won't get as much from the BPW electric company. I just thought about that.
Yeah. But then again, you guys have an incentive program to help people.
We do
energy efficiency things, and that's good.
Absolutely, and that's probably one of the things we don't talk about enough, and someday we should, because we have some incentives that, I think if you put in a smart talk about technology, a smart thermostat. I think there's a rebate there. There's a number of rebates that we have for people to help modernize their home.
Yeah. Another important part of the school building, too, is the student and staff security issue of it. I noticed when we were pulling up to the building last night to go in, and I couldn't get into the building because it was locked, and you had to be buzzed in. Of course, there were people there to help open the door for you and let you in. But I thought about that as an example of, well, this is the way it's supposed to work. In order to keep bad actors out of a building and keep students and staff safe, you have to go to those steps today. You have to have controlled entry points. You have to have one main entrance, or maybe two if buses coming to the other side. But it's not like when we went to school. You just go there and you walk in, you walk out whenever you want. It's not that way anymore.
No, it would be nice to rewind the clock so it was.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. They have to take children's safety very, very carefully in all schools, from college on down, and certainly, I'm sure, as they designed this building, safety was paramount on how to access the building and keep people that should not be in there out.
Yeah. Another thing about, of course, it's for school use primarily, but you look at the large gymnasium they have and some of the commons area spaces that might have community uses for the future as well. I know one thing communities often struggle with is like convention and meeting things, available courts for tournaments and things like that. So here's maybe another option.
Absolutely. And, from the kids' perspective, they don't share a gymnasium with a cafeteria.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's a really big win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the days of shipping meals around between buildings, I think Jason will tell you he's thankful those are probably over now.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true.
You can make them on site and have the modern equipment and everything. Well, it's going to be anxious to see how the district adapts to new the headquarters for elementary students, but it's going to be great. You have everybody in one location, and preschool starts on Monday, I think. So that they're ready to go.
What happened to summer?
I don't know. I was wondering about it. Dave and I were talking about that the other day. It's like we almost skipped July or something. Maybe we're all just so busy that it kind of flew by.
It did fly by, and it's just it just amazes me that I guess school's starting. I'm like, wow.
And where you worked for a long time, the college will be getting up and going here
Monday
pretty soon. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
it's amazing how
it
time
is.
flies.
It has.
One thing on kind of related back to the school site, understand police are kind of helping out regarding these first few days. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of experimentation about how, with street work around there, how people get into the school and get out of there as they drop off kids, pick them up for the day. So understand police are kind of out there watching it too.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to help, and I'm sure that the school put together a good plan of getting people in and out. So, that's the hard part when you do a construction project. You want to make sure that, first of all, that building is set where they want, and once they determine that allows us then to design the road. And I think, I know it's the next one down, but just a step ahead,
Sure.
I think that our construction company is doing really, really well. I parked, thank you to Christ Community Church, I parked in their parking lot and walked over. Two reasons.
How long of a walk was that for you? Did you get there in a short amount? That's not that long of
maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
I think 3 or 4 minutes. But
got your steps in for the day.
I got my exercise, and as you get older, I like to have plenty of room to park.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about getting out of the parking lot. And then lastly, I really wanted to take a look at the construction of the street, and constructors are doing a really good job. Boy, that's a thick amount of concrete that are down there, and I think the Lincoln pour is going to be close to being done shortly after Labor Day.
Now,
weather permitting.
Yeah, are both lanes in now there? Or,
I believe
when I went out there, I think the south side lane was in, and of course that was a few days ago, so it might be.
I was thinking both lanes were in.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Yeah. So they're moving pretty quick.
On the roundabout at 33rd and Lincoln, how is that coming?
Well, they're still working on that. That won't probably be opened up right away, but again, once you get Lincoln Street up, it allows us to move to 33rd Street and finish the roundabout. So, they had an aggressive schedule of December 23rd, and by the looks of things, they're certainly maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, and that's good.
So once you get much past Labor Day, people that are only accessing the school on the east side will have that option on the north side then.
Right,
So
right. So, it will be a little bit of angst. It'll take a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, when both roads are done, when you think about the improvements there too, because, both of those were old county roads that moved into the city and really did need some help. And so you're going to have really a nice thoroughway there. And, at the last council meeting, we approved to do the design work on 25th to 27th, which is the last section there where there's no curb and gutter. And so, from 19th Street on Lincoln all the way through the roundabout, when we're done, is going to be a really nice road.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to drive out there sometime today. Look at maybe I can just drive through the church parking lot. Maybe not park there, but I'll take a look at it. Hey, I appreciate it because I think I've parked there occasionally when I use the trail when there's nobody else around. So that's kind of nice of them. And they have a connection too to the trail there now with the school. They
do, and they are so supportive of the new school, and they're so supportive of the community. And I really want to thank them for all that they do for our community as well.
All right. Well, the kids back to school today.
Yep.
It's good. New year and a new building, and times are good.
Times are fantastic.
Yep. We'll be back with more on Ask the Mayor in just a moment. Back on Ask the Mayor today with Mayor Bob Morgan. One thing we want to talk a little bit about today that we haven't, and it's been kind of started with, I think last year the legislature committed some funding to study the issue, and that is these small nuclear facilities that are mentioned. I think they're called small modular reactors is what they are. And Beatrice is among a group of 16 communities mentioned as possibilities for location of one of those. I think in the southeast, Brownville was one. That's where the Cooper Nuclear Station is at. I think Hallam, Nebraska City were a couple others among the 16. Tell us about what contact you've had or work discussions so far. Obviously, this is in the very early stages.
It's in the early stages, and you're right. It was one of the. I think it was funded through the state legislature. When you look at the future, I think there's no doubt with all the moves toward transitioning to electric. I got to say, I'm not sure which end of the spectrum I stand on there. I can't see myself driving an electric car, but that's me, and that's probably because I'm, retired, kind of, sort of. But at the end of the day, there's still going to continue to be a drain on our power. And I think this is a really smart move from the legislature, and I think it's a really smart move from Nebraska Public Power District to start looking at where these new model smaller reactors could possibly go. Because at the end of the day, as I thought about it, I thought, what I guess you always think about what weaknesses might a community have, not today, but maybe 25 or 50 years down the road.
Yeah.
I won't be here, but a lot of other people will. And then when you look at it from that perspective, I think in my mind, the two really important products that we need to make sure that our community has is power and water, clean water. I mean, I think those two are the really important pieces to really make sure we're safe in our community. So I'm really, really happy that Beatrice is a finalist in this nuclear energy facility. I think that what it does, as you know, we were going to study building our own some type of power source that wouldn't be probably up and running for another 10 years. But we're always looking at a way that we can back up the power that we have and continue to access power at a reasonable rate. In initial short conversations with Nebraska Public Power, they let us know that they were looking at our area. And then we came out on the list as one of the 16 finalists, and I think we ranked pretty well on their criteria mark. I think we're excited to see what that can do for not only the city of Beatrice, but Gage County and the surrounding area to keep power and access to power in place. I mean, one of the things we can talk about just a little bit for power, we have two industries that came into the industrial park. And one of the reasons they came into the industrial park, because they're dealing with kind of Bitcoin type operations, is because we do have access to power and we have a reasonable price for power. So that really helps us from an economic development standpoint. And so we're excited to be in the top 16.
With the NPPD's combined cycle plant, the natural gas plant that is north of town here, how much do you think maybe that factored in Beatrice being on the finalist list? Do you think, have you been told anything about, is that one of the factors or not necessarily?
I certainly haven't been told that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think and if you look at the list, there's several places that they have a presence in that list of 16. And so I think, again, that's just one of the other things that they can leverage to some spots that they already have.
Most of the green energy discussion in the past few years has been on wind, and then a little bit more recently on solar.
Right.
I know Norris Public Power has projects, I think 6 of them in their service territory, where they, for their own electric capacity or load, they are planning those. Nuclear is one we haven't really gotten into at all, but this is a different type in terms of scale. Still a big energy producer,
right?
But not on the line of a plant like a Brownville or something like that.
I mean, I think that's correct. I think that's the thing that to keep in mind. This is not like the Cooper nuclear plant at Brownville. They're modulars. I was thinking they may go in the ground, if I'm not mistaken.
I was going to research on. I think there's been one underway. I want to say in the southeastern United States that I'd heard about, but not a cheap undertaking. But
but I also think they're modular. So I think just like everything that turns modular, they're kind of like plug and play. If you've got one that needs to be worked on, I think it gets out and a new one gets put in. From my understanding and the research that I've done, it's really like everything else. It's got more technology. Think about when Cooper was built, and you think about today, and you think about how fast technology's changed things. It's a safer way, like you're right, to create some energy in a green way that probably time has come.
Yeah. How soon, and I don't know if you know this or not or been told anything about that, but as far as the list of 16, I'm assuming there'll be some pare down of that to maybe 4 or 6 or whatever it might be. Is there a kind of a timeline by which you would know if you've advanced farther on the list? Or?
No, actually, we have not had any discussions with NPPD since the list came out. So I'm not sure what timelines they are looking at. Like everything, though, just like our study, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that will take some time no matter what location is chosen.
And I think there's kind of a second phase where they do technical analysis of whatever finalist sites they have, so that takes some time too.
Right.
So it's kind of like a school building. You don't just pop it up one day.
That's right.
It takes a little time to design it. So
what we have in the 16 is now the 25,000-foot view.
Yeah.
And now they got to come down and do the 10,000-foot view and continue to move down.
I see. All right. Back to wrap up Ask the Mayor in just a moment. Back on Ask the Mayor today to wrap things up with Mayor Bob Morgan. Maybe just a quick update. Every once in a while I see, of course, cities, just like any other employer, are periodically hiring or advertising for employees. And on the public safety side, there's been some ads you've been running on firefighter positions. But taken together fire and police, we've talked about this before as far as competition with other communities for personnel. How are you doing right now?
Well, I think we're holding up really pretty well. I think, there's no question that over the last year we've had some turnover at the fire department. However, when we've advertised, we've had the ability to hire people that will come to Beatrice and serve on the fire department, so that has been a blessing. From the police department, we are pretty close to full staffed. If we're not full staffed, and sometimes you run ads to make sure you get a pool of applicants. So at the end of the day, we're doing really well. I think one of the things that we always will continue to do is take a look at, our surrounding areas and in, the union way, take a look at arrays to see where everybody's at for fairness. I believe we'll continue to move forward and continue to keep an eye on it.
Okay. Another, I like to, we were talking about driving around and seeing how things are going as far as, I like to do that every once in a while during the day, just make kind of a circle. And one thing I haven't gone out to look at, too, is I understand the parking improvements at Hannibal Park.
Yes.
Are pretty much, getting near?
Getting near to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been out there for a while, so I guess I haven't got a good look at it. That's going to be on the western side of the
I believe
park.
that's correct. I believe that's correct.
Which opens up the original parking area for other
maybe another field or something there.
Yeah.
So we continue to improve Hannibal. It's a great resource for us.
Mm-hmm.
The naming rights has really been a blessing because we do have a master plan of what we're going to do with Hannibal, and thanks to all of our sponsors and naming right folks and Pinnacle Bank for being the name of the park. It really helps us fulfill that master plan.
Yeah. These public-private partnerships are pretty effective on some big projects, aren't they?
They really are.
So, same with the school, with contributions and naming of rooms or projects or
gym floors.
Yep, gym floors, exactly. Yep, I did see the insignias on the floor last night at the elementary building there. So, yeah, it's kind of a sign of the times. Everybody is doing that, though. I mean, you almost have to do things that you can't load up taxpayers with everything.
No, you really can't. And I think about, even though those have a certain amount of age, I mean, was it CHI Arena or whatever in Omaha? It's been Sprint, it's been CHI. There's been a number of transitions through there. So, I mean, it's just it is one of the things that, again, have been part of our time.
Pro sports franchises, they're changing, main sponsorships of their arenas all the time, seems like. So.
Yeah, they are.
So it's the way it is.
Yep.
Event the other night, got a chance to go out there again. It's the close of the Big Blue Water Park season on this past Sunday to the public, but we had the doggy dip fundraiser on Tuesday night, Humane Society, and that's kind of a neat event.
It's a great event. Yeah. I think, hats off to our public parks, our public parks department. I'm sure there's a little bit of dog hair that needs to get picked up out of the filters at the end of the life of the pool for that summer. But if you've never been out there to watch it, you really should.
Yeah.
I think they do. What do they say? The social dogs, which are tend to be a little bigger at 1 hour, and then the other dogs that are a little more timid or maybe don't get along with other dogs in the second hour. But I don't, I think amazingly, I don't think there's been a lot of issue.
No, there hasn't really been. It's the dogs kind of like seeing their friends out there.
That and the pet owners, the pet owners understand that is a great opportunity for their dog to experience something that they're only going to experience once a year, and they do a really good job, too, of helping their pets enjoy that event, and it's fun.
Yeah, and the donation goes for good programs at the Humane Society.
Correct.
I know about a year ago there was a presentation on the trap, neuter, and spay program with the feral cat and the kind of wilder cats outside, which seems to be making some impact.
I think it is making some impact on, on those things. And, the Humane Society did some great research on that program before they brought it to the city council. And it is one of those issues that every community faces, and this seems to be one of the best solutions. And so that's good.
Yeah. A couple of things just touch on briefly here before we wrap up. Notice that some of the initial earthworks underway on East Scott Street, just to the west of the U-stop there, where they're going to have the residential project.
Correct.
There.
That's moving forward now and getting some dirt work done. I think one of the things that people had said is you go through the election cycle, and we'll probably hear it again, is we need to figure out how to have Beatrice grow. That's going to allow for housing so we can grow. It's not very far from the school. So, I think as long as we can continue to supply lots and houses, we have a good shot of continuing to grow.
Yeah. Just general comment regarding at the beginning of this year when you have first come into office and other council members, you held a goal-setting session to kind of set some major targets, what elected officials felt were the most important things to do. And, it takes a while to see progress, and sometimes some people don't notice that progress, but you have kind of made some inroads in some areas.
We really have. We I think we listened to what people thought was important. One of the ones was downtown revitalization. With the RAISE grant, we have that opportunity to really move that project forward over a period of time. That takes some time. Another goal was Dempster's, and that Dempster's committee continues to work on that, and we continue to figure out how we can own the building, all of it, and we're making some good progress there. And then between the project that's starting on Scott Street, and then how we've done a master plan for lots on Lincoln School property and Paddock School property, we're going to have some housing spots or lots to build. So we're opening up a number of opportunities to bring people and give them the opportunity to have a nice home in Beatrice.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, ordinance revisions. You've made progress on that bit by bit. Some of the things that were created years ago that people wonder why they were created in the first place are being weeded out of the city code, and improvements are being made and updates and things like that.
We're taking a look at that. It's like everything else. Some of the things that were in those codes back in 1975 may not be too current today.
Yeah. City Council meeting Monday night. We don't have the agenda yet,
No.
but we'll hear about that Monday night and Tuesday.
You know, you can always go on the website,
Yeah.
and you'll find that agenda up usually by 2 o'clock on Fridays for our Monday meeting.
All right. Mayor, thanks for being in.
You bet. Thank you.